Hey guys, this is Plozible, and I'm just going to be doing an unscripted discussion of the Joker movie that just came out. There were some preview nights beforehand, but I saw it on the opening night, which was today. It was October 4th, and we're just going to be talking about it. That's it. I want to make some comparisons to some of the other Jokers if possible. I'll say this right off the bat, that this is definitely better than Jared Leto Joker, and I wish I could have gotten a bit more quotes, but sadly, my pen kind of fell in the middle of the chair during my watch time, so while the pen is mightier than the sword, it can still fall through cracks, sadly. But I don't want to keep you. I'll just say it like this as well. I'm not going to be adding too many spoilers. At least I'm not going to try to do as many spoilers as possible. I'll probably add in a few of them, so be wary if you've not seen Joker. Maybe you're fine with not seeing the Joker and you just want to just hear my thoughts on it. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm assuming that most people who are watching this video have already seen Joker and they just want to compare notes. And I'm fine with that. I'm up for comparing notes all the time. So, let's just hop into Joker, and I want to say right off the bat that Joker is definitely an emotional roller coaster of thoughts. You will definitely feel that the movie just as it is. So you have Jaoquin Pheonix portraying the Joker, and who is Arthur Fleck, and you learn a lot about this version of the Joker, and I'll go into some other things later about this version, but it's definitely a bit more of a descent into madness, and you can feel it. Like, you can feel just a lot of empathy for each moment that Jaoquin Phoenix's Joker just kind of goes downhill, because he gets beat up at the very beginning of the movie. He's not taken seriously by a lot of his peers. They just treat him like garbage. He's got a mental illness. He's got a condition where he just can't stop laughing. So a lot of people think that he's a freak. And with this, obviously, he has people that try to outcast him, and there's a lot of isolation, and it makes you really just remember that if you isolate someone, it's just people can become very twisted when it comes to isolation. It can change a person, and that's something that you don't want to do. You don't want to hate someone because it gives them a lot of dark thoughts. And you see this especially whenever Joker goes on that subway and basically kills 3 dudes. And he didn't make a political statement or anything like that. He did it because these people were being jerks to him. He was just laughing. He was minding his own business because he can't do anything about his condition. He even tried to give him a card. They still didn't care, and they still tried to beat the crap out of him. So, he just ends up killing them, and something he deals with is trying to pretend that it's something that is a really bad thing. He tells the investigators it's a bad thing. A lot of other people within the movie as well, that it's just kind of tragic what happened, but in the end we learn that he doesn't really regret his actions, and he descends to becoming the Joker, at least whenever people start making fun of him literally on TV. People just admire his clown getup, but they hate him for being him. So whenever he goes on the show with Mr. Franklin, I can't remember the exact first name, it was I'm not even going to try to remember this, it's going to be a bit hard if I do, but within that scene, you get him literally addressing everyone on the camera, saying that they decide what's right within society, that humor is subjective, what's right and wrong is subjective, and it really makes you think, because technically you can justify whatever you think as being objective to a society, but it's really subjective. So, if you went back 100 years or so from right now, you'd get people saying that certain peoples of certain races are inferior to other races, right? And then now, obviously in the present, we've learned that there's equality to that. Some of us still haven't learned that, granted, but there's a really good amount of society who has learned that at the same time. So you get a contrast of what people think, but it's more or less the majority that there's equality there. So you get the thought, obviously, that what we consider good is subjective, what we consider bad is subjective, and under Arthur's mind, what he's doing is not wrong, because with how people have treated him, it's just that a lot of the people who are in the top spots of society, such as Mr. Franklin, Thomas Wayne, like, they all look down at the people who are just below them, like, almost as peasants, as people who just don't understand. I can't exactly get a full quote on this because I kind of dropped my pen again in the middle of this, but something I got from Thomas Wayne is that he said something, this is paraphrased along the lines of, those of us who've done something with our lives look down on others as clowns. So the ones that have not done anything with their life are people who are just beneath them, is what it's basically saying, obviously. Right. And then when you go from that, you can justify from there with the Joker that you have people also making fun of him for trying to become a comedian, literally mocking the very idea of him becoming a comedian, just laughing at him in his dreams. And it's really depressing with how that goes out, obviously. And then whenever you get to the Joker just going up there, you can't really go against what he says because you just empathize with him that much that you can understand all of the hardships he's gone through at this point. Everyone's treated him like trash. The only good parts of his life were just imagined. People think he's a creep. He lost his mom because his mom literally lied to him. Said that he was literally just said that Thomas Wayne was his dad, and then just adopted Arthur, treated him very badly and abused him, which kind of is more or less implied to have put him in this state. And because of that, we get him literally murdering his mom, and he's lost everything at this point, so he has nothing to lose by going on this show, doing whatever he does. And the thing is, you can empathize with it because it's not unrealistic to really think like that. The movie does a really great job pacing this, actually. It's that he starts off rather happy with his life. I wouldn't say happy. He's content with it. You know, life is the way it is, but he's still doing what he likes, which is being a clown. It's his job. Gets fired from it, but things continue to go downhill. He does something in the moment, and then when he finally just breaks free of society's bonds, it's just that obviously we don't like the oppressors of society. The people who are judgmental, we can all agree that those type of people should not be up there at the top, but, you know, you can't do anything about that because everyone's somewhat judgmental, but at least they're not putting people down always, because once you're at the bottom, you know, you can't really mock any other people unless you think you can feel better about it, but your criticisms aren't going to be as valid as some dude on the TV literally mocking Arthur for just having really bad stand-up comedy. And I'll just say it, and that obviously that Phoenix's Joker is a good portrayal, I'll say that, but I do have a problem with it, which is mostly that it implied that he was mentally not up there. Let me say it as in he had below average intelligence. That's how it's like implied with how he has like jokes that aren't exactly literate, but and then you just get to the part where you have to wonder, because this is the same Joker who sometimes outsmarts Batman in the comics. Batman's like one of the smartest people within like the DC universe. Like he's like one of the smartest humans there is on the planet. He's literally called the greatest detective there. It's like, you just gotta wonder how this dulled down version of Joker in intelligence just kind of is the same Joker we know. So let me put it like this, that this version of the Joker, while it is a good adaptation in a modern version, I don't think it's true to the character as a whole. I think that a lot of there's like a lot of other things like this within hero movies as well, where they kind of change the character for the big screen. They want you to like empathize more with him rather than thinking he's just evil because he's evil and it's the Joker. You want to be able to understand the Joker, so they had to change him up, which at the same time for a lot of the comic book fans, with a lot of people who've grown up with the Joker, this just doesn't feel genuine to them. And not everyone who is going to the movies is going to be a diehard comic fan. I mean, but I do think that at least a decent amount of people who went are obviously going to be people who have seen Joker within, like, a TV show, like Batman the Animated Series, or Batman the Brave and the Bold, or, maybe the Brave and the Bold's not the best example. Batman the Animated Series, the Justice League cartoon that there was, he was in there, like, planting bombs and stuff one time. People are going to think of those versions that they grew up on, and they're going to want to watch the Joker. At least like that. And, let me say it also, just... Joker... It's a good movie, but it just isn't completely true to the character. It just comes down to that. There were, like, other quotes within the movie that's just like, is it just me, or is it getting crazy out here, or the worst part with having mental illnesses is people expect that you don't have it. That second one's a bit like paraphrase there. I couldn't get the exact thing, sadly. But a lot of these just communicate how Arthur's psychology is in these moments, just how he's feeling in the descent into madness. Overall, would I say that it's one of the better versions of the Joker? Yes, but it's not better than something like the Dark Knight's version, which is Heath Ledger, because that version is just straight up based off the comics, to where he does actions that he's the pure antithesis of Batman. They were doing solely just the origin here, and, I was expecting this to happen, but since the Joker doesn't really have a counterpart, like a rival in this movie, or something like that, he just doesn't really have the same duality as he does with Batman, because, Batman's about order. No matter what Joker does, like, if you take Injustice, he just outright kills everyone in Metropolis with, like, a nuke. I think it was a nuke or a bomb, yeah. And then had Superman drugged to kill Lois. Batman didn't kill him. Superman did, but Batman didn't kill him. He was just interrogating him, because Batman can't be broke no matter what. In some instances, he has broken, but very rare instances, and he's not really done it with the Joker, even with all the horrible stuff that Joker does. And then obviously, Joker is just pure chaos. You can't really do anything about him because he's insane. And no matter what Batman does to lock him up, Joker is always just going to be there to take more lives and just do a whole lot more horrible things, such as killing even his partner. I think that these are best explained within, like, Batman the Killing Joke, which was honestly my reference point with the backstory, was comparing it to the Killing Joke. And if you don't know, the Killing Joke's version of this is basically just talking about how he was a guy, he was working with, like, some sort of gang. He was doing it because he lived with a wife and a pregnant child who, a pregnant wife who was having a child near the way. He was doing some money with a job, and pretty sure that they ended up dying in the middle of the film, if I can recall that correctly. I'm not exactly sure, but he goes on a job with Batman kicking him and, like, trying to, like, stop him from falling into, like, a bunch of acidic stuff, but no, he falls into that. He gets physically deformed, so at that point, similar to how this version of the Joker is, literally lost everything, became the Joker, and just kind of hated everyone in society and viewed it as one big joke. I'll probably play some of the Killing Joke monologue when I'm editing this. I'm not gonna edit too heavily because it's unscripted again, but if I don't, I don't know. I guess the takeaway from that is that the Killing Joke is probably the version I'd consider the best version of the Joker's backstory, because it's not definitive on how you view it. All you get from it is that Joker is insane, and he tries to prove the point that everyone can become insane just like him. Because he's not too different, it just took him one bad day to get where he was. This version of the Joker took, like, probably a week or two to get to where he is now, but it's still a collective a bunch of events that made Joker lose everything and become what he is. It's basically the same idea. you can't really do the Joker any other way if you're gonna have a backstory for him. I'll just say it like this: I was a bit disappointed as well that there were no monologues from this Joker. While he did have a back and forth with the cameraman, like addressing the audience with Mr. Franklin as well, I really do think if he just like went up to one of the investigators, talked about how society is, just like how corrupt it is, and his intentions behind what he's gonna do later. You know, had he even like mentioned what he was going to do, and these like police officers still get stopped, I feel like that would have still added a bit more depth to the movie and made it a bit more enjoyable. Because you would be able to obviously tell what he's going to do. Actually, now that I think about it, you don't know if he was going to kill himself or not, but I guess you could still leave it ambiguous if you had him like just talk about what he wanted to do and like how he views society as corrupt. I wouldn't say that this movie's bad, other than I do think that they could have added a few more things that would make it just more enjoyable, and if they made Joker a bit more sticking to his character, because they can't work off Batman's duality with him to really make a good conflict in the film. If they just done that, I think that it really would have been a good movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I actually really enjoyed this movie, and I recommend watching it for anyone who wants to go watch it. Or just if you even have the slightest interest, I really recommend you watch it, because even like DC fans or just like people who don't know DC would probably find some enjoyment out of this. Granted, it is rated R, so not everyone can go see it, but for the people who can go see it, if your parents are fine with that, obviously, go ahead, yeah, go see it. So, how do I conclude this is the thing. I'll just conclude this by saying this. I want to see more of this Joker, but the only worry I get is that it won't be like the Joker that we know within the comics. It's not going to be the Joker that is with the animated versions. It's not going to be like the Joker that was within the Dark Knight. It won't be that Joker. I know some people probably want some change when it comes to the Joker, yes. However, a lot of people would probably feel a bit upset if they just go back to the comics, because you have someone like Thanos, for example, who's not the most well-known, but he became really well-known because he got memed, very much memed, in Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, some of like the best box office sellers of all time when it comes to like live-action stuff. But you know, if people ever look at the source material, they're probably going to be a bit confused why they have those differences between the two characters. That's really it. I'll just say that you better make sure that if you go into this movie that you're ready to be hit very hard emotionally. I know that when I was watching this movie that it definitely tugged at my strings a little bit with just how... It was just really sad with just how Arthur went downhill into becoming this insane person who took all of his revenge out in society in such a not great way. He probably could have gotten better if they hadn't closed the mental health hospital, but you know, life's just that unfortunate, I guess. And I hope that you enjoyed my review, I guess, my discussion of the Joker. Maybe it was not on par with what some people expected to me of reviewing. I don't know. I think when most of the time I review a movie, I usually have clear thoughts on what I think about it, but I can't really decide what I think of the Joker. I think it's a good movie, but I'm not sure I'd come back and watch it again. It was... I wouldn't say that you would exactly feel the weight of the movie, but I feel like once you got towards the end a little bit, it picked up, but when you were in the middle, it started feeling like you could kind of feel the time. And whenever a movie does that, it just... I was engaged with the movie at the very beginning in the like ending part, but the middle kind of dragged a little bit, but it was mostly well paced, and it was because of that pacing that you could understand that it wasn't rushed or anything like that, that you could understand why he became the Joker. Because if it was too quick, obviously, you wouldn't be able to have that same understanding of why he became the Joker, but it seemed like he became the Joker for like a really bad reason. And if it was slow, you would lose the interest of the audience, and you'd think that he'd turn a lot quicker than what he does in the end. But it's paced just about right. A little lag in the middle, yeah, but that's it. So, I hope you guys like this video. If you guys want me to give a more just thought out response about this video, this movie, if you guys want me to just do something like that, leave a comment just saying so. If there's like a certain threshold, I don't know what my goal would be here, because I'm kind of a small channel, but you know, if I reach a certain threshold, I'll probably just do an actual formal review on it. I just wanted to get out my thoughts as soon as I could. I don't really want to forget about the movie, because I did that with the Lion King review once when I was trying to do the Lion King 2019, and I just kind of forgot about a lot of stuff within the movie, and it kind of affected my review when I was doing it, and my review was mostly jokes. You know, actually, now that we're at the end of the video, I'll just say one more funny thing that kind of happened when I was in the theater. I swear, I don't know if this old couple was just unaware or not, but they walked into Joker, and what happened was, we were like watching the very beginning moments wherever they just go and beat him up. Just, Joker gets chased down, but at the end of it, like at the end of that scene, you get Joker laughing and you get the intro, and I swear, they were about 2 seats over from me, but they were asking Joker, but we're going to, this isn't Abominable, I think we're in the wrong movie. I don't know what Abominable is, it's probably some other good movie or something like that that probably came out. I just went there because Joker's the big one, but, I don't know, maybe you guys would get a laugh out of something like that. It's always just fun to share little stories. So many great things happened at the theater. I'll just say that aside from Joker being the main attraction, I just thought of so many, like, good jokes and stuff I could have made just during the time. Everything went right. I'll just say that about my experience. So, yeah, this is Plozible, and I'm just going to be doing my videos on Sunday. Aside from this, videos, plural maybe. Definitely one of them will be out, maybe 2. Just depends how my editing process goes for one of them. I can't make any promises, but there will definitely be one of them. But yeah, ciao, and thank you for watching my review/discussion.